We're here today with Mr. Stevon Cook, CEO of Mission Bit in San Francisco, and also the Vice President of San Francisco Unified School District. We're taking this opportunity to find out a little bit more about him and his leadership role in our community. Mr. Cook, thanks for the interview.
Thanks for having me.
Good. I wanted to ask, and yesterday was Martin Luther King's, it was 50 years since he passed away or was taken from us. And everybody has the message or they advocate the dream that he preached about, and as a message for us, as far as where he saw our community, should be, and you, as a young man, especially as an African American man, where do you see that dream today in your life, and how do you think that you're contributing to make it a reality for others that follow you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big question, where I see the dream in my life. I think that King's work definitely helped advance opportunity for African Americans, all Americans. There were pretty significant legislation that was passed as a result of his advocacy, and I think the dream is what has been popularized. We reduce some of these historical figures to a phrase,
right? But
the body of his work, from the bus boycotts to advocating for jobs justice,
right,
to advocating for peace at a time when the country was in war. That's the entirety of his legacy. I think that what he represented in terms of the black community being able to push policy through a power base like the church is something that we still see today. And the influence and the participation of African Americans in all areas of life is, some of that has been a result of someone who was in the public eye that we all aspired to look to for leadership, and that type of leadership is now present in other arenas. So, I would say that the work still needs to happen.
Right.
That when we have communities that are growing up in poverty, their ability to escape is still very difficult. Right. And it's incumbent upon all of us, our institutions, whether it be government institutions, church institutions, and the business community, to really examine what are the strategies to lift people out of poverty. And that work, in education, right? My work in education, at Mission Bit and on the Board of Education, I think that's a very much a cornerstone of my focus, like continuing to see how we can reform, improve, change interventions to support more people and get them out of poverty.
Right. I've worked in public works a long time, and I could tell you I don't often see black men or black women in leadership roles within the construction industry. You're in the heart of Silicon Valley, supposedly. I think that one of the reasons that I was inspired to speak to you today was because here is an African American young black man. You could be the next Facebook, as far as I'm concerned, and just like how I would be rooting for the black girls that was playing tennis, that are Venus and Serena are famous today. I'm hoping that you're somebody that is representative for especially our young people, that if you can do it, they can do it too. And with that in mind, how do you see the high-tech industry really welcoming young leaders like yourself that are African American or minorities into this industry?
Well, yeah, I thank you again for coming and wanting to tell that story, and I think that is very much a part of how we continue to change the narrative. People like you are telling stories of leaders that are actively working to, improve their community. So, my work is important. Your work is incredibly important. And so, so thank you again for saying that and for being here. And, the trying to break into any industry is difficult. And trying to build an organization is incredibly difficult.
Right.
For me at Mission Bit, we're a nonprofit, right. So a lot of our support is based on people believing in our mission. For people that work in Silicon Valley, like I think one thing about the tech industry that some people are starting to understand, but the vast majority of the public doesn't, is that it's, in terms of it being as wealthy as it is, they're still very new to wealth. They, it's not like the banking industry or the automotive industry. They've been making money for a long time. Tech is new to wealth, so they're new to philanthropy. And they're really trying to figure out, what is our role to, as a business, to drive social change. And there are a lot of young leaders trying to grapple with competing and getting their company public and having the best talent, and now they're being really pushed to consider and get involved because they are creating so many jobs and so much wealth, getting involved and putting potential workers in a position where they can join these companies. So the discussion around the lack of diversity in tech is well documented, and as it is well documented in a lot of other industries. Right. And the participation has started, and with companies it looks different, right? So Salesforce is often highlighted for how well or how much they're doing. They just gave the school district over $20 million. They've supported Mission Bit in the past. They're sort of at the forefront of giving, right? But there's a lot of other companies that are doing a different variety of things. Some companies have a different focus. Like, so when some companies may say, we want to support third world countries around access to learning. So if they're doing that, they may not necessarily support a local organization like Mission Bit. Everyone has different funding priorities. Right. So when it matches, and they think that our work is valuable, then we find a way to partner. So Mission Bit has been fortunate to have the support of Salesforce Foundation, Adobe Foundation, and we just received $1 million from the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, which is out of the mayor's office in San Francisco. Cool. So it's all very new and young, and it's coming in waves. Mission Bit is also an organization that isn't as well known as some of the other coding organizations, right? So people that are really leading the way in terms of giving, organizations like Black Girls Code, Kimberly Bryant there has done an incredible job raising money. Girls Who Code has done an incredible job getting their name out there. So, there's still a lot of growth potential in terms of the way that companies give and the services that are offered for young people to learn coding.
Okay. The community you serve is primarily the youth. I guess I have two questions here for you. Are you feeling that you're doing similar work to the STEM organization that is, for instance, in the Emeryville at Alameda County, trying to push for students to get summer internships, or are you specialized more for just coding and keeping people motivated for that type of work?
Yes, the latter. We focus on coding education and computer science. And we want our young people to learn how to build with technology. And primarily software. So the languages that we teach students are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We mostly offer an intro class, a 13-week class. We run it in the fall, spring, and we run a 6-week immersive class in the summer.
Great.
This fall, we're launching a 2-year course progression. So our goal is to take students through 200 hours of coding education.
Great.
We'll start with the basis that I just laid out, but we're going to go deeper into JavaScript because that's the coding language that is in the most demand. It also allows people to do a lot of different things when they're wanting to build software.
Okay. I know that the community is primarily the youth, but if you have young adults that maybe coming from disadvantaged communities that are trying to find ways to enter this tech industry or through your training, is it possible for adults also to get the training through your organization?
Yeah, we have a partnership with Hack Reactor that's focused on adult education.
Okay.
So we run a class that, we in a few different places in San Francisco and in Oakland. The class is a part-time, night, and weekend course.
Good.
The idea of the class is that people go through 100 hours of coursework in order to enter a full-time coding program like Hack Reactor.
Okay.
So Hack Reactor was a good fit for us because they really believe in expanding coding education, right? They supported coding in San Quentin. They supported coding in other countries.
Great.
Like they really believe in getting the learning opportunity out to as many people as possible, and partner with organizations like Mission Bit that are deeply rooted in the community to support engaging people that want to learn how to code.
Right.
So with Hack Reactor also, they have a very successful job placement rate.
Great.
So over 90% of their graduates get jobs. The average starting salary is 6 figures.
Great.
So those are the pieces we're trying to connect. We are primarily focused on high school students.
Okay.
But we started this adult class out of these continued questions from our parents or people that left high school that never learned how to code. Right. To say, I also want to start coding, and I feel like it might be too late. Well, no, it's not. And if you are working, we actually started targeting people that were at jobs that didn't have a lot of career growth. So and they wanted to change their jobs, right? So if they worked security, for example, like if you go to a lot of the office buildings around, you'll see a lot of diversity in people that work at the front desk at security, and all you need is a guard card and to pass a drug test and maybe a high school degree. Right. So the folks that work there, they're showing up to work. They have great communication skills. Right. They went through a process to get a certification. Right. And they may want to transition from being at the front desk to the executive office. Right. And so this is that pathway for them. Okay. We started to look at people that were working jobs like that long term to say, if you want to do something different, we have something for you. All right.
As a nonprofit, I think initially when I talked to you, I was also excited because of a program that I'm trying to support right now that's happening not just here in California, but nationwide, where there's a lot of emphasis on facilitating Section 3, which is something that the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development has as a policy since 1968. The idea of Martin Luther King, the day where he was shot, he was there to support economic prosperity for garbage workers that nobody else wanted to advocate for. The Section 3 program with HUD tries to encompass the idea of, hey, by the way, if you're doing a project as a general contractor or a developer, and you're building homes, the community that should be benefiting from public housing projects or affordable housing projects, try and see if you could get them into training in some kind of a pre-apprenticeship program that leads them to become self-sufficient. There's a change in the air, seems like, that people are now not just looking at these candidates, including people who might be coming from San Quentin and going into public housing, etc., that it shouldn't just be working as labor and construction, but the possibility of finding something in an office setting that is going to be conducive to somebody really elevating themselves to middle class or upper middle class. With that in mind, my question to you is, as a CEO of Mission Bit, do you see yourself branching out of not the spot that you're in right now is in San Francisco, California, but as a CEO of the company, would you be open to supporting the type of programs that you have, or training others to do a Mission Bit in other locations throughout the United States?
Mm-hmm. Today we are focused on this region.
Okay.
And for people that are in the surrounding Bay Area, it's really an important thing to understand that we can solve the job access issue with coding education and the job demand issue with people that currently live in this region. All the companies are being headquartered here. Jobs are being created here, and companies desperate to find talent are trying to find ways to change immigration laws to support the talent that's coming, so they can stay at their company. And we have people that live here, so I see this issue as a regional problem, and in order to really service that problem well, it requires that I focus here. So Mission Bit is focused. We were founded in San Francisco. We're focused on the 9 Bay Area counties. And as long as I'm running the organization, that's going to continue to be the focus. I think we still have a lot to do and prove in terms of our ability to serve these communities well. Our goal is by the year 2020 to reach 10,000 students in this area. If the organization wants to do more after that, or if the board wants to take a different direction, then I'm open to considering that. But it's 100,000 students that live here that don't have access to the learning opportunity. Like, that's 100,000 reasons to stay. And so that's really my focus.
Well, last question. I'm an immigrant myself. Was born and raised in Aruba and came to the United States as an international student. If somebody was dying to come from Europe or South America or someplace to participate or to work in San Francisco and perhaps come in as an international student into your program, would that be a possibility?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the immigrant story and what immigrants have done to help improve the country. And so, we have a lot of young people whose parents are from other countries, people that have recently immigrated to the country, and we welcome them with open arms. San Francisco has always been that community where we want to see people from all over the world come here and thrive. And we want to have people that, also feel like they may not have fit in where they're at to be able to come to San Francisco and feel like they have a community here that supports them and acknowledges them, that loves them. So, we don't believe in turning people away. That's not what we stand for. A lot of the young people that come to Mission Bit have that story. So, I encourage whoever wants to go and leave their country to come to a place like San Francisco, we need you to help continue to build and help our community thrive. So come on over.
Okay. I said that was the last question, but one last one. You're now on the school board as vice president, and my question for you is, do we see President Stevon Cook? I mean, don't limit yourself now. Don't limit yourself now.
Well,
we need for us to have leaders like you at Mission Bit as a CEO in San Francisco on the school board. But would you allow yourself to aspire to even be a national figure at one point?
Yeah, well, they're giving anybody the job of president right now. So I don't know if it carries the same weight or prestige that it did at one point. You know, yeah. I think that when I think about my life's work, I really more so think about people that transcended whatever position they had while they were working. Mm-hmm. So, you know, someone like King, I don't aspire to be someone like a Dr. King, mm-hmm. but that is somebody who became more than the position that he had. Right. Like it's interesting too, because since I work in education, a common question you can ask to any American citizen, you know, how many of the 45 presidents can you name? Mm-hmm. And most of them do the first one, maybe Lincoln, mm-hmm. but, mm-hmm. you know, that says something, right? Mm-hmm. People hold these positions for a moment, mm-hmm. but unless the work really helps change how people see their community or the access they have to opportunity, like building a legacy mm-hmm. is what I'm most interested in. A legacy that can inspire my great-grandchildren right. and the generations of people that come behind me. I don't think that a political position achieves that on its own. Like mm-hmm. the body of work and your persistent focus on doing something meaningful is what does that. So, you know, I don't believe that I need to be president in order to leave a legacy, okay. right? Okay. I happen to really believe in being politically active, and I believe that we need good people to run for office. A lot of good people are discouraged from running for office. Mm-hmm. So I think how long I stay in politics is going to depend on if I think I can still be effective, okay. right? Because I don't need the position that doesn't define me. It's something that I'm doing right now. So I'll continue to be politically active and possibly continue to serve in a political capacity if my answer is yes to that question, if I believe that I can still be effective in the position that I'm doing or that I'm seeking.
All right. Congratulations on your recent award, and I hope that Mission Bit continues to thrive under your leadership, and I look forward to seeing your future mm-hmm. As a person in the audience, as well as somebody who perhaps would get an opportunity to work with you again.
Yeah. Well,
thank you.
Thank you again for telling these stories, and I look forward to staying in touch. And for everyone out there that is thinking about doing something to change their community, and they've been talking to themselves about it for a long time, today is a perfect time to start. And so I hope that if this interview does anything for anybody that's been waiting, like I want to solve this problem, give it a shot. Go out and try to solve it, you know. And thank you for supporting publications like Lens, and I'm easy to get a hold of, just on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. So we don't have to stop the conversation now if you want to continue to talk about my work on the Board of Education or my work at Mission Bit.
Thank you for watching Stevon Cook, a young professional leader.
Okay.